Okay, we're going to do take 2. Welcome to the Stitchery, which is the nursery that I've turned into a sewing room, or I'm in the process of turning into a sewing room. That's why it's so creatively decorated with boxes that have blankets thrown over them and more boxes. And look, oh, more boxes. Okay, this right now is my main working area, and it's where I'm working on this project. The project I'm doing now is Mariana by Jean Everett Millais. It is a pre-Raphaelite painting, and it's one that I was fortunate enough to see in person at the Frist Center here in Nashville, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Sat and stared at it for hours, and when I realized I could cross-stitch it, I was in about 8 kinds of heaven. The pattern is actually ordered through Scarlet Quince. And there's their scarletquince.com. I have no affiliation with them at all, other than a customer. This is page 1 of 44 of the pattern, and this is actually, I ordered the large print because I'm also 44. I just realized that right now, huh? And my eyes, I need the bigger pattern. As you can see, I've made some progress, and what's happening in here, this is, if I'm giving anybody any tips, this is a tip that has saved my life, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's the best cross stitch tip I've ever had in 30 years of doing this, and 35 years of doing this. I started just highlighting the areas when I completed them. Well, someone online said she highlights twice. She uses one color to highlight what she's working on now, and then she goes over it again in a second color when she's completed. And that, on a chart this complex, is it's just a lifesaver. And it's also sort of a fun little game, because then you're like, oh look, there's another upside down question mark, or there's another this, and it's just you take your fun where you can get it, you know what I mean? Anyway, enough staring at the chart. That's the chart and my magnets and all my fun little gadgets. Thread Heaven, if you don't use Thread Heaven, you're missing out. This stuff is wonderful. It's a thread conditioner. And the reason I recommend it for a project like this project consists of a lot of blends. This is the first time I've ever worked with blends. I mean, I've worked with blending filament, but I've never really worked with DMC blends before. And when you blend, there's a lot more precision, and it's wonderful to have the thread perfectly conditioned. I, in the past, have worked with beeswax. Thread Heaven runs miles around beeswax because it doesn't melt. So this project is a little too complex. This is the color list, by the way. So I mean, this is by far and away the absolutely most complex project I've ever done. Here's where we're at now. Well, before I get to the project, that's like the pièce de résistance. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, this is the other thing I wanted to show you. I do park my needles for something like this. I work on a bit of color and I park them, and then I come back. I used to not park needles because it seemed fussy to me, but with this much detail, it really makes the most sense. And these needle palettes, that's what they're called. They're from Yarn Tree, and they're a wonderful way to park, because you just right here, the color and the symbol, you put your threaded needle in here. It does mean buying extra needles, but needles are like $10 a piece, and most people can swing that. And then you can, because this is a fun spongy material, and I will admit that sometimes I just sit here and poke it because it's fun to poke. It's almost as fun as that floral green stuff that you just poke and you stick your fingers in and you're like, oh, that's wonderful. Anyway, but that's that. And then you just, when you're not using it, you just close it and you're done. And of course your threads hang there and it's all sloppy, but whatever. This is not, we're not being graded on this. This isn't school. Anyway, okay, pardon the shaky cam. Oh, good grief. Good grief, shaky cam. This is what we've got so far. And I am now such an advocate for blending threads, because you get so much artistic detail. And right now, you're pretty close. You're about 6 inches away from the project to see the detailing on it. When you're at gallery distance, which is 2 feet away, so about there, it's stunning at gallery distance. It's mind-blowing up close. At gallery distance, it's stunning. This is just wonderful, and it's very relaxing. And I know at the beginning of the project, I talked smack about gridding. I will never talk smack about gridding again. That it's just a lifesaver. And yes, this is in a hoop. I'm too set in my ways. The frame just did not work. In fact, you can see, look, pieces of frame. That's how well the frame worked out. So anyway, that's it. This is the first video, and I will try to do another video. I'm going to try and do a video every 40 hours. This is the project after the initial 40 hours, and I will come back with part 2, and hopefully it'll look like more than just a bunch of dots. But thank you, and I will now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.